All right, let's talk about Rihanna. We all know the music, but the real story, the one we're diving in today, is how Robin Rihanna Fenty went from being a global superstar to an absolute business titan, building one of the most powerful empires we've ever seen.
So let's just start with the headline number, shall we? $1.4 billion. That's her estimated net worth right now. That makes her the wealthiest female musician on the entire planet. And get this, she's second only to Oprah as the richest female entertainer, period.
Which of course brings up the big question. How on earth did a young woman from a small island in the Caribbean, who hasn't even dropped an album in years, build this kind of insane fortune? Well, the answer isn't just in the songs. It's really a masterclass in branding, vision, and business. To really understand the empire, you have to understand the person who built it. And that story, it starts in a pretty modest 3-bedroom bungalow back in Barbados.
I mean, the contrast here is just staggering. On one side, you have Robin Fenty, a girl helping her dad sell clothes at a street market, dealing with tough family situations, and even suffering from these debilitating stress-induced headaches. And then, on the other side, you have Rihanna, the mogul who owns a $22 million villa in that same country and became America's youngest self-made female billionaire. It's incredible.
But, she's never forgotten where she came from. This quote just says it all. For her, success was never just about her, it was about creating a whole new reality for her family.
Of course, before all the businesses, there was the music. And that music was the foundation, the platform that gave her the power to build everything else. And her rise was, well, meteoric. At just 15, she gets discovered in Barbados. A year later, she's in the US, auditioning for Jay-Z himself, who famously refused to let her leave the building until she signed a contract. From there, it was just one hit after another, leading to the global phenomenon that was Umbrella, which landed her her very first Grammy.
And let's be crystal clear about how big she was in music. 14 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100. You know who that's more than? Michael Jackson. She is one of the best-selling digital artists in history. This wasn't just being famous, this was total global domination.
But this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Rihanna expertly used that musical platform to pivot from pop star to a true entrepreneur.
She once said that fashion was her defense mechanism. And that's such a key insight. Her move into beauty and fashion wasn't just another celebrity endorsement deal. No, this was personal. It was an authentic part of who she was. She saw a huge gap in the market because she had lived it herself. And that led directly to this, the Fenty effect. See, when she launched Fenty Beauty back in 2017, she didn't just release another makeup line. She completely turned the industry on its head by solving a problem that so many women of color had faced for decades, not being able to find foundation shades that actually matched their skin.
And this chart just shows you how radical her approach really was. Back then, most major brands offered maybe 10 to 15 foundation shades? Fenty Beauty launched with 40. 40! It was a powerful statement that basically said, everyone is welcome here. And wow, did people respond. The brand made $100 million in its first 2 months alone.
Her playbook was simple but just so powerful. First, she found a real need with Fenty Beauty and just nailed the execution. Then she took that exact same idea, that same spirit of inclusivity, and applied it to lingerie with Savage X Fenty, celebrating all body types. The result? 2 separate billion-dollar brands all built on that one core principle.
Okay, so we've seen the strategy. Now, let's follow the money and see exactly where all this wealth actually comes from.
And this breakdown is really revealing. The vast majority of her wealth, a massive 70%, comes from Fenty Beauty. Savage X Fenty kicks in another 20%, and her legendary music career, that's only about 5% of her net worth today. It just goes to show, she's a businesswoman who also happens to be a musician, not the other way around. And Fenty Beauty really is the crown jewel. The cosmetics company is valued at an estimated $2.8 billion. It's an absolute powerhouse in the beauty world, and it just keeps growing.
And here's exactly how she became a billionaire. She co-owns Fenty Beauty in a 50-50 split with the luxury giant LVMH. That means her personal stake in the company is worth around $1.4 billion. That right there is the core of her entire fortune.
So when you boil it all down, it's this. Her music made her famous, for sure. But it was her sharp business instincts and her authentic vision that truly made her wealthy. She used her fame as a launch pad, not a finish line. But her impact goes so far beyond her bank account. She's also been incredibly dedicated to using her massive influence for good.
Back in 2012, she founded the Clara Lionel Foundation, named in honor of her grandparents. And through it, she's donated millions and millions to disaster relief, climate justice, and education, especially in the Caribbean.
And all of this work culminated in one of her nation's highest possible honors. In 2021, the very day Barbados became a republic, she was officially named a national hero, recognized for bringing honor to her nation by her words, by her actions, and by her deeds. So, from a girl selling clothes on the street to a national hero and a billionaire business mogul, Rihanna's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. Which really leaves us with just one final thought. After completely redefining music, beauty, and fashion, what industry could she possibly disrupt next?